Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to Persona 5. Everybody super loves Akechi now, apparently. I heard they arrested one of the Phantom Thieves. No way! I didn't expect him to commit suicide. He's a murderer. He deserved to die. We can finally breathe easy now. He killed himself, huh? I guess we'll never know his motivation. So, what was the deal with that fake guard? Was he a shadow? Clearly some kind of illusion, but how the hell did they pull that off? I'm exhausted. It feels like my consciousness is about to fade away. Hey, are you alright? Don't fall asleep until we reach our destination. Are you listening? Could this be the effect of the drug wearing off? The memories I thought were gone are starting to come back. Are you listening? I am. Anyway, we need to talk about how to get out of this situation. Futaba's monitoring of Akechi's phone has confirmed it. He did indeed have an ulterior motive. It's on a completely different level than just that. Not only was he trying to frame us, but he was the true culprit behind the mental shutdowns. His offer to assist us was simply a plot to frame the Phantom Thieves and kill Peter-kun. If we go into Sis's palace as he suggests, we'll likely be met by a large ambush of police forces. To think he would be this far gone, I now know what it means to feel a chill down my spine. Furthermore, he wishes to bring a police squad from reality into the palace? Oh, that's what happened, and he can do it since he has the Metaverse Navigator. If the 8 of us can enter at once, it's not inconceivable to think a larger group is possible. He may even be able to bring in vehicles or other special pieces of equipment. Okay, yeah, that answers a question I've had from the very beginning. So this was really just a setup to shift the blame onto us. He made us go after Okumura, then once we triggered the change of heart, he killed him. That confirms that. And he told us he had seen the true culprit, but it was him the entire time. Yeah, we've had no reason to suspect anybody else. The whole time he was working with Makoto's sister, he was really just some homicidal maniac. Come on, we gotta take that bastard Akechi down. Isn't that recording we got enough proof to do it? No, Akechi's merely a tool. His orders come from elsewhere. The grand mastermind behind this all. An unimaginable fiend capable of arranging the murder of a suspect of a police station. Unless we find out who that is, we'll continue to be targeted even if we defeat Akechi. But what means do we have of learning his identity? We'll have to make Akechi say it, though once we do, that mastermind will likely eliminate us. I think that will be the case eventually, regardless of whether or not we learn his identity. The only reason it hasn't happened yet is because we're an easy target to blame for his crimes. If he realizes that's no longer possible and abandons that plan, he may opt to kill us immediately. Like he did with the SIU director getting rid of his pawn. Why the guy didn't see that coming is beyond me. Damn it, so we don't got a choice but to go with that bastard's suggestion. Yeah, Akechi really had us by the balls here. But if we go into the palace as told, Peter will get arrested and then murdered by Akechi. Palace. The palace. Actually, there's something I'd like to say regarding... Aha! We can use the palace to our advantage. What's this all of a sudden? There's a way. A way to get past Akechi and get the mastermind to lay off of us, all while learning his identity. Really? Wait a minute, so did they sneak into the interrogation room through the palace? Because it is, I think they said it was under the courthouse. You've got to be kidding me. If he wants to kill Peter, why not let him? That is, inside the... Oh, okay. We could have him kill the cognitive Peter, all the while believing he killed the real one. Okay, so there will be a cognitive version of Peter inside the palace. So what, they drag Akechi into the palace? And then let him do his thing? Oh, okay, that explains it. So that's why the guard disappeared. Because showing Akechi the phone dragged him into the palace, into the metaverse. I've got it. It's all starting to fall together now. So they dragged Akechi into the metaverse by showing him the phone. Then he killed the cognitive version of me, and then pissed off, thinking he had won. And that's why the dead guard that he thought he had killed also disappeared. The guard was a shadow. Yeah, that's it. Seems that's our only option. Listen close, everyone. I have a plan for how we can carry this operation out. Boy, that was a specific plan, though. Like, if that interrogation room had been anywhere other than directly below the courthouse, we couldn't have used the palace.
Ever since the death of their teenage leader, the Phantom Thieves have fallen silent. However, the police intend on continuing this investigation until the case is fully solved.
I'm sorry I'm late. I had to finish a few things at work. Where are they?
Waiting upstairs. Go tell them to come on down. I'm gonna fetch him.
So even Soji was in on it. That's fantastic.
You're her sister, correct?
Makoto told me everything.
Awesome.
Futaba-chan, I'm sorry that I caused you so much trouble this past summer.
Is cool, Sai. We understand. Also, I'm fucking your
That's ancient
sister.
history now.
Man, that goddamn detective.
Look who's here.
Hey, you big bastard.
Hey, look, we can yuck it up now because I'm not actually dead. Hooray.
How have you been?
I mean, I died.
You must be fine if you're joking around like that. It truly is a relief to see your face.
I bet that moron Akechi don't even know we tricked him yet.
It sure is a relief to still have my face.
Still, how'd you pull this off? Isn't this guy considered dead?
You weren't told anything? I heard my sister brought him here, though.
Yeah, she came over in a taxi, dumped him off, and told me to keep him safe. It was right after they announced he had died, too. Almost gave me a heart attack.
I didn't have time to explain.
Hey, shouldn't we tell boss what really happened?
We wanted to make our enemy believe the leader of the Phantom Thieves was dead.
What?
What we did was make that enemy kill his fake in the metaverse.
Hold on a sec. Enemy? Fake? What are you talking about?
Oh, nobody has really properly told Soji about the metaverse, huh?
The true culprit behind all these incidents set us up. Our goal here was to determine their identity.
True culprit? I see. So you guys were going up against someone else.
It was Goro Akechi.
You know what? It feels really good to have the caretaker figure fully on board. And at least partially in the loop. You know what I hate more than anything else? And if you follow the best friends, you'll hear Pat and Wooly talk about this fairly frequently as well. And I agree with them on this matter wholeheartedly. Freaking talk to each other! Keep the important people on the same goddamn page! And that way, when the shit inevitably hits the fan, somebody will know what to do, rather than everybody just having no clue what's going on. But boy, it's a huge relief to know that Soji is in on this.
You knew beforehand that he was the traitor, didn't you?
Yeah, he screwed up big time.
Akechi himself gave us the chance to strike back. He made one fatal mistake.
Isn't it always one fatal mistake? I'm thinking back to that old Clue movie from, like, the 80s, I think? It was quite some time ago. It was the one with Tim Curry as Wadsworth, the butler. And then it had Martin Short, Leslie Ann Warren, bunch of other big names. That movie. And all I can think of is the line, "But you made one fatal mistake!" Oh, that was such a goofy movie, but it was great.
Couldn't you have just said from the beginning that Akechi was the real culprit?
He was probably eavesdropping on us.
That wasn't something we could simply bring up. We couldn't have you suspect Akechi. Besides, neither you nor the other investigators would have believed something like that, would you?
True. Akechi was credited with the arrest of the Phantom Thieves. Not even I would think he was the culprit.
Nor would anybody else. Except Shido.
In other words, you left him alone on purpose. That was a bold move.
We didn't really have a hell of a lot of other choice, did we?
God, I can't keep up with any of this stuff. So what was this mistake Akechi made? What did he do?
He gave away the fact that he could understand Morgana is what he did.
He slipped up in regards to Morgana's voice.
You mean a cat?
Oh yeah, about that, Soji.
Yes, Morgana can talk.
Poor Soji. He's so confused. And it's totally understandable, but the worst part of this is he can't use a persona, so he can't hear Morgana's voice no matter what.
Sorry, was that supposed to be a joke?
Oh, our apologies. That's completely true. You surprised?
Does that mean he said something just now as well?
But you don't understand him, do you? That's how it was for all of us at first, too.
When you're in the metaverse, Mona talks like a normal person. Once you hear that and your brain realizes he can actually talk, you start to understand him in reality.
Oh, that's how it works? Okay, so it has nothing to do with being able to summon a persona. It's just about hearing him speak in the metaverse, so it again comes back to cognition.
It's a change in cognition, most likely.
Okay, well...
Thanks to Akechi's lame acting, we figured out something was up.
I'm so glad they're explaining all of this.
When we talked to Akechi at the school festival, he was acting like he just realized Mona could talk.
I'm so glad they're explaining this shit to Sai and Sojiro.
But we already saw him drop a mega hint about it way earlier.
It almost makes up for so much of the plot earlier in the game being on rails. And I really mean that. Just the fact that they're actually talking things over, actually bringing Soji and Sai onto the same page with the team, with the protagonists, it seems so simple on the outside. It seems like such a stupid thing to be freaking out over, until you consider how few JRPGs and how little Japanese media in general does that. It's the same in manga and anime. Nobody ever talks to anybody else, when a problem could simply be solved just by bringing everybody onto the same page.
Oh, I know a place! I want to go to that huge pancake-looking place we passed on the way here!
Oh, am I mistaken? I thought I heard something about delicious pancakes.
Mona was the only one who was talking about a pancake. That meant Akechi'd already been in the metaverse by then.
And since he was lying to us about that, we assumed he had a hidden motive behind contacting us.
I mean, even if we hadn't known that, it would have been pretty obvious. Forcing himself onto the team like that, under such self-righteous pretenses.
It seemed odd upon further thought. His reaction to my pancake comment was an honest one, after all.
Yeah, we did get lucky with that. He had already, he had not yet walked around the corner, so he couldn't see who was talking.
That said, we weren't so naive to overlook something like that. That's why we asked Futaba-chan to wiretap his phone.
Although, the fact that Morgana is also helping to explain this, Sai and Sojiro are still gonna only hear meows in the middle of this conversation.
I
pretended to be interested in checking the phone out, but I was actually planting my app.
Aha!
My heart was pounding while I was doing it, though.
Even that ace detective could never have imagined a program being installed so quickly.
So Futaba is kind of our MacGuffin here, where she's just this magical plot device whereby a huge, potentially ending-determining problem was solved.
Futaba's quirky nature proved to be a great help.
Yet another one of the reasons I like her.
That was just an act! After a few days of listening, this confirmed his betrayal.
Then I'll guide the police into her palace and have them catch the Phantom Thieves in the act. That would be the only way to arrest them, given their methods. I'll deal with them after that. Let me see. We could say he stole the guard's gun and committed suicide during his imprisonment. How about that? Public security questioning will occur on the first day. And with that room, my task will be simple.
Is this for real?
Yup.
Yes, the guard will be one of ours. We'll have to eliminate him after to destroy the evidence, though.
So they planned to get rid of that guard from the beginning.
Well then, I will make the arrangements the day after the arrest. And thus, the dangerous criminal responsible for the mass mental shutdowns shall end his own life. When he does, you will become a great hero who saved Japan from evil. As will I, of course.
I knew he was acting strangely, but to think he was this far gone.
Didn't we already say that?
He's no ace detective. Akechi is the perpetrator behind the mental shutdown crimes. On top of that, there's someone else commanding Akechi.
Gee, I wonder who that could be.
Someone with great authority. So great that they can order an assassination in a police station. That's why we had to make a move before they did.
I see.
Yeah, so what exactly,
We baited Akechi into Sis's palace, making him dispose of our leader's fake, but think he killed him.
Can you elaborate on that in more detail? What exactly happened in my cognitive world?
We're sorry for using you without your permission. Your palace had all the conditions we needed.
What conditions?
First, we required a place inside the cognitive world that was the same as in reality.
Oh, the courthouse, okay. That's why they were making such a big deal about the police station across from the courthouse. Okay, I get it. So the interrogation room was in the police station. It wasn't under the courthouse. I see. That's why at the very beginning when we first entered Sai's palace, they were talking about how, oh, the courthouse became a casino, but the police station looks exactly the same, even though that's someplace she hangs out every day. Okay, boy, that was way too convenient.
That place is based on the real world after all. Anywhere that's not warped looks just like normal.
That's why nobody but the person who uses the nav even realizes they're in the metaverse.
Back with Kamoshida, we came in from the station without even noticing.
Not till we got to school.
You totally can't tell the difference if there ain't any distortions around.
We had already investigated Nijima-san's palace when Makoto brought the suggestion to us.
I mean, he says that you can't tell, but you can based on the shadows that are wandering around, if there are any. Because when we went to Kaneshiro's palace, Shibuya looked exactly the same, except that everybody wandering around was a walking ATM. So I think under some circumstances, yes, you can tell.
I was seriously impressed by that suggestion. To be honest, I didn't quite understand it, but I went along with it.
Well, it was kind of a good idea.
Yeah, it's good we have her heading up our operations.
Makoto is normally so calm as well. But once her mind is set, she gets oddly impulsive.
Yes, I think we've noticed that.
I did have a bit of a rivalry forming with Akechi. But I just couldn't contain myself anymore once you became a target, sis. The reason I joined the Phantom Thieves was to heal your heart, after all.
Which I thought we accomplished, because we did steal her treasure.
My own achievements were all that mattered to me. I was desperate. I wasn't myself at all. I'm sorry I couldn't see that.
Hey, all's well that ends well, right?
That goes for the both of us. We heard from Mako-chan that you were going to do the interrogation, Mijima-san.
And regarding its location, I take it you used the data from my laptop?
Probably.
I'm sorry.
Go on.
There were two things we were able to confirm while we were
Oh, I had forgotten completely about these diagrams. Oh, I don't think we've seen one of these since... What was it? Since Kamoshida's palace or since Kaneshiro's? Oh, that's awesome.
First, our clothes didn't change when we were down in the interrogation room. Second, the scenery and details outside of the palace proper were the same as in the real world.
Once we heard that from Makoto, we secretly went to check it out without Akechi knowing.
There was also one more thing we absolutely needed to make this work. A perfect cognitive replica of him in the metaverse's interrogation room.
Oh, okay. So that's why they had to have Sae see him in the interrogation room to create the cognitive replica. God, that's such a damn goofy drawing. I love it.
Since he had yet to be caught, though, there obviously wouldn't be anyone in that room.
Oh, no, okay, so he had to get caught in order for that to happen.
Once we saw the casino guests and police officers, we were convinced this would work. They looked no different from actual living people.
After that, we just had to work our way into the palace like usual, while keeping Akechi in the dark.
Everything went as planned up until we defeated Sis's shadow. However, it was then that we were met with a terrifying, unexpected police ambush.
That we totally expected and knew was coming.
As a result, even though we managed to grab the treasure, we couldn't get it out of the metaverse. Except that was all an act.
Mm-hmm.
We had prepared an empty briefcase beforehand, and merely acted like we were taking the treasure.
Okay.
This was because we knew the police would be coming for us.
We made sure before the operation that the police would be waiting to ambush us.
It was all part of the plan. Ah ha 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 ha.
And just as expected, he totally took the bait.
Him getting captured by the police went exactly how we planned it.
And I had been interrogating him with no knowledge of this.
Well, we couldn't have really brought you into the loop any time earlier than that, or the plan wouldn't have worked.
But how did you lure Akechi into this cognitive world's interrogation room?
Well, clearly, with the app Futaba installed on his phone. That was a metaverse navigator.
All I needed were the coordinates.
It seems like she used this laptop to remotely access the metaverse? What? How? Did she suddenly get a metaverse navigation app on the phone? On her laptop? So, okay. It looks like what they're trying to show with this diagram, oh my god, is that Sae shows the phone with Futaba's app to Akechi. As soon as Akechi sees the phone, Futaba activates the app remotely and drags Akechi into the metaverse. That seems to be what happened. Asking her about it now would drag the conversation on too long. I should talk to her later. Oh, okay. We don't want to sandbag the delivery of plot, so if you're interested in this information, come back another time.
Akechi disposed of the fake in the palace and left thinking he had been victorious.
These freaking diagrams.
It must have been truly hilarious for our leader who sat idly in the real world's interrogation room. Surely he was acting quite cocky by himself in that quiet chamber.
So that's why you gave me your phone. I only took it because of what you told me.
It's a shame I didn't have the opportunity to see that for myself.
You know, I'm just glad I didn't die.
All I could do was try to handle all the messages that started coming to me on his phone. Huh. So in other words, I've been to the metaverse, albeit for a brief moment.
In our experience, there is little danger when someone enters their own palace for so short a time.
That's the other reason we had him give it to you.
Oh, okay, and that's why we couldn't actually steal Sai's treasure. Because if we had done that, the palace would have collapsed. So we needed the palace to remain until Akechi had done his shady little assassination.
We needed you to listen to Alibaba, deceive the guard, and ultimately aid in his escape. By having you head back to the interrogation room, we could return you to the real world as well.
Okay.
I mean, I had to think of some way to keep you from running into Akechi mid-assassination.
Huh. Astounding. I hadn't the slightest idea that such a grand operation was taking place within me.
I'm so glad he was able to persuade you during the interrogation.
Not as glad as I am, sister.
Even though we knew Akechi's plan, we were pretty worried about that part.
True.
Why is that?
Without Sis on our side, Futaba's plan and subsequent breakout would have never been possible. That persuasion was easily our greatest gamble.
No kidding.
We couldn't consult Sis beforehand. It was absolutely the make or break moment of the entire plan.
Still, I'm surprised you could convince me in such a short time. Were you confident you could do it?
Don't remember. Drugs.
Understandable. Either way, I can't believe you went for such a risky idea.
We really didn't have any other options.
If we could just tell you the true culprit's plan, I knew you'd realize the bigger picture. Realize that our leader was telling the truth, and that there was a greater evil to pursue.
As a result, we emerged victorious.
Well, I wouldn't count my chickens just yet. We've still got Akechi and Shido to deal with, don't we?
Then the reason you kept this a secret from me was so you could catch the true culprit, correct?
Yes. Plus, you had lost control of yourself at the time.
This is stunning. All I can really do is laugh.
Well, you know what they say about the killing joke, right?
I've kind of figured out that you guys made Akechi kill a fake. But what did you do about the body?
It vanished.
The police never even checked it.
Huh?
They had a coroner working to ensure his death was reported as a suicide.
Oh, even the coroner was on Shido's payroll. My God.
That coroner didn't take one look at the scene and just passed along a falsified death certificate.
Wow.
The bad guys have that much influence?
Well, we're talking about a corrupt candidate for prime minister. I mean...
Murder in a police station would be reckless otherwise. We also knew of a possible conspirator.
Thanks to Futaba-chan's messages and the guard's demeanor, I eventually came to understand. And since the higher-ups at the police knew nothing of this, they were thrown into disarray. As a result, his suicide during imprisonment was reported on the news, just as Akechi planned.
And with that confusion, he was able to escape with Nijima-san's help.
And now we have a very crucial, albeit short-lived, cover for Peter's escape because everybody else thinks he's dead.
I made sure nobody would check the morgue for his body, and thanks to that, nobody knows he survived.
Thinking back to the interrogation, though, I can't believe what they did to him.
I can. I was there.
The callous use of violence and even drugs is utterly abnormal.
I don't know about drugs, but violence during interrogation is nothing new for the Japanese judicial system. Although, often enough, it's not so much violence as it is more psychological forms of coercion.
If he had lost consciousness and hadn't been able to tell Sis about the phone, he would have died. I'm truly glad you made it back safe.
Yeah, me too. It was definitely pretty close.
I almost became one of your assailants as well.
It still freaked me out when I saw the suicide on the news, though.
As it would.
We made sure to live normal lives while he was being interrogated to avoid drawing any suspicion.
The problem is, Akechi still knows who we all are.
Even with that, I couldn't help but worry for him in my heart.
Although, at the very least, I think everybody except Sae and Sojiro is safe from having Akechi kill them by murdering their shadows. Because as Morgana said much earlier in the game, our shadows are always by our sides. They're our personas. So Akechi can't go wandering through the metaverse and find our shadows to kill them.
Well, I knew right away that her plan worked out.
At least, I don't think so. The rules that the game universe seems to have established up to now would suggest that's the case.
I wanted to believe, but considering what we were up against...
Ryuji's a bit on the dense and carefree side.
Just a bit.
Can it, cat?
I had to be patient and avoid this place until things settled down. I finally feel relieved.
We knew he was alive, but it was difficult to not worry until we could confirm it in person.
Now that I think about it, my interrogation was just a formality for the head commander.
Yeah, they never had any intention of truly cooperating with her.
What a joke, letting me interrogate someone who was meant to die. They just wanted to avoid backlash. Very well. From here forward, I will do my utmost to assist you.
That's what I like to hear.
You saved me, after all.
Yeah, well, the feeling's mutual. But I'm still fucking your sister.
That's reassuring to hear.
I'll do whatever I can to help too. Just let me know.
Like this scene feels better than anything else in the entire game. And this is a good feeling. The feeling where, hey, Sojiro's on board, Sae's on board, they're up to speed, they're on the same page, they know what's going on. I don't have to constantly tiptoe around Sojiro and keep shit secret from him the way I did with Dojima all the way through Persona 4.
Let's take a break for now, though. This old brain is pooped.
How about some coffee? And some curry?
Oh, and feel free to use the first floor when you guys want to get together and talk.
Ah, thanks, Soji bro. You've actually turned out to be a really cool guy.
You'll need a hideout where you can be safe. Just say the word, and I'll close shop early.
This guy! I want to give this guy a hug now.
Are you sure?
This guy can't leave. Plus, you won't make much progress if people can hear you from downstairs. It's not like this place is the liveliest joint in town. It won't be a huge loss for me.
Let us accept his offer. What a great man.
No kidding. Soji is best waifu. Confirmed. Well, that was a hell of an escapade. Peter Barakan.
That sounds familiar.
It's me, Akechi.
Enter.
That's the death certificate of the principal offender, correct? Is there a problem with it?
No, nothing in particular. More importantly, you've done well with regard to the prosecutors.
The cause of death for the SIU director has been settled as a stroke.
Oh, God. I guess that wasn't terribly difficult for them, was it?
I had him work quite substantially on forging evidence. His loss should be mourned.
Yeah, sure.
It was thanks to his efforts that I could enter the Phantom Thieves' interrogation room, too.
I figured it was probably him who set that up. Transferring command of the operation from Sai to Akechi.
The SIU is in disarray with his death. I'll take my time choosing a successor after the elections.
At any rate, I'm now praised as a hero, and I owe it all to the Phantom Thieves.
All possible hindrances are now gone. There's no doubt that this election is mine.
Well, I'm glad they still think that. That's a huge help.
And on to our next story. The snap election for the House of Representatives. Discussion is swirling around potential nominees as the deadline for candidacy announcement nears. Candidates will announce on the 23rd of this month, while voting will be held on the 18th of next.
Elections, huh? Don't matter to us. It's not like we can vote in them yet anyways.
Why don't we resume our conversation?
Well, the Phantom Thieves are back together. We can finally take it to Akechi and the bastard backing him.
Have you figured out who's behind all this?
I have!
Akechi accidentally let that slip after the murder. He said, Shido-san.
Shido? Feels like I've heard that somewhere.
He is unmistakably a man of power if he has such strong connections to the police.
Masayoshi Shido, I think his name was.
Shido? Could it be Masayoshi Shido?
Yeah, him.
Who? I believe he's a politician. Remember, Ryuji? You said his speech was too loud.
For real?
Dumbass.
It's certainly possible that Shido is the mastermind.
Huh?
Do you have some kind of evidence?
Nothing material. However, there are various conditions which align with that possibility. First, he would profit from damage done to the current administration by the psychotic breakdowns. He's maintained a negative stance toward the Phantom Thieves and has gained tremendous popularity. On top of that, he'll most likely become the next Prime Minister if he wins this upcoming election.
No!
Did he set us up with that election in mind?
If he is behind all this, that would be in stark opposition to his honest public image.
Yeah, but at this point, can we really take anything for granted? Especially that?
So his current position and popularity is just him benefiting from the mental collapses. We'll make him have a change of heart, no matter what it takes. Mom.
Shido, huh?
What is the matter?
Oh, you know him?
I had a feeling he was wrapped up in all this, just based on the connections I had from my previous job.
Really?
I think the one who crushed Wakaba's research and confiscated her materials was probably Shido.
You know something, huh, Soji?
From the moment Wakaba died, I had a hunch he was involved. But there wasn't anything I could do. So I chose to protect Futaba and went into hiding.
Why didn't you say that sooner?
You guys would have definitely gone after him if I had.
We could have solved this whole problem, though. If you had told us.
He would have just killed all of you, no doubt. That's what he usually does to people who get in his way.
Originally, I was looking into the mental shutdown cases. It was then that I accidentally stumbled upon government research regarding the psychotic breakdowns. So I tracked down the whereabouts of that research data and met with the associated parties. Boss was one of those parties. I would never have imagined all of this was connected. The mental shutdowns, psychotic breakdowns, Shido, and even the Phantom Thieves' actions.
So that's why she was investigating Sojiro, huh?
Way back when, Shido kept saying he was going to be Prime Minister one day. Nobody believed him, though.
What's going to happen to this country if Shido becomes Prime Minister? What about the world?
The issue is simpler than that. This is nothing more than yet another selfish adult trying to impose his will on the public.
We gotta expose that rotten bastard!
Yeah, we'll do it like always. Then let's check the nav.
Masayoshi Shido, the guy running for Prime Minister. Got a hit! Well, duh. It ain't a surprise he has one.
No kidding.
Where would the location be?
Probably the Parliament building. Or the
What kind of things go through a politician's head?
Diet building, I believe it's called. That's the Japanese Parliament.
I always think of dirty money and shady actions.
What does he do? And where? We don't got a clue about this guy's life.
His palace must be somewhere that politicians frequent. Any ideas?
Yeah, like I said, the Diet building.
We got a hit!
Of course we did.
How arrogant must he be to see himself as the ruler of the Diet building?
Our next target's the big shot politician Masayoshi Shido. We're gonna do this, right?
I really kind of hope we can bring Sae and Sojiro and that they get personas, but I have a feeling there's no way that's going to happen. And yeah, what do we do about that rat bastard Akechi?
No need to waste time with him, we just gotta hit the head.
No, because if we let him go free, he's going to cause trouble for us.
Nobody against it?
Of course!
He will be a worthy opponent.
No.
Let's win this together.
Time for revenge!
We need to take Akechi out along the way, or he will threaten the lives of people who are important to us.
Then it's unanimous.
And just people in general. It's not unanimous, but I don't really have a choice.
All we gotta do now is figure out what he thinks that diet building place is.
On the other hand, I would imagine that if we find our way to Shido, we will probably have to crush Akechi somewhere along the way anyway.
So that's the app that allowed me to enter the metaverse.
An old fart like me can't wrap his head around all this stuff.
We'll have to deal with this before Election Day, December 18th. That means we need it done by the 17th.
All right.
It's best we hurry before they discover there's no body in the morgue.
Should we start tomorrow then? We can meet at the diet building after school.
That reminds me, what are you gonna do about school? You can't show up if you're supposed to be dead.
What a great way to get out of school. Sorry, waifu-sensei, I kind of died, so I can't come to school.
Miss Kawakami said he went back home for family reasons.
That's what I told the school.
Ah.
Don't let him find out you're alive then, alright? This whole thing would be for nothing.
What do you mean?
This operation had another purpose outside of escaping Akechi's clutches. Shido tried to place all the blame on the Phantom Thieves and deceive the public at the same time. He has ruined countless lives, and even made Goro Akechi, a student, assist him with assassinations. A mere change of heart is too lenient a sentence for such an abominable criminal. We'll be making use of the police statement that the leader of the Phantom Thieves committed suicide. Our leader, who is presumed dead, will come out of hiding to deliver a grand statement.
Oh, is that the plan?
He'll say he has escaped prison, not committed suicide, and was in fact almost killed by a criminal.
Everyone's gonna flip.
You guys thought through all this stuff too?
You know, I have to say, that is pretty impressive. For a bunch of meddling kids and a mangy dog. I mean, cat.
We're intellectuals, you know.
You shut your dumbass mouth, Ryuji.
That's why you needed such a daring trick as getting captured and appearing to be killed. What frightening teenagers.
Yeah, damn it, we're frightening!
But the true battle has only just begun. We won the first round, but we must stay on our toes.
Yeah, this ain't the time to be celebrating.
These people tried to trap and kill us. There is no end to their inhuman, conniving nature. We will need to be prepared for whatever may come our way.
I finally made it this far. It's already been 2.5 years since we met.
Back then, you earned the media's attention as a young politician who could rise up against bureaucracy.
Oh, gotta catch us up on the backstory these two have, I guess.
Because of that, those who wanted to preemptively deal with problems tried to tie you up in scandal.
To think I would fall for the ruse schemed by those decrepit fools in power. I recall that's when you came to me. You promoted yourself saying you had special powers. If it wasn't for the research on cognition that I dabbled in, I would have thought you insane.
I made those troublesome opponents psychotic, and erased any trace of that scandal.
Who'd think that tampering with a person's heart could trigger a psychotic lapse or mental shutdown?
So this is something which bothers me a little bit. In real life, and I know we're talking about a video game that's way off into the sci-fi and fantasy realms here, but bear with me, okay? In a real-life situation analogous to this one, there would be no reason for them to ever have this conversation. Ever. The only reason this is happening is for the benefit of the player, that is me, and by extension the benefit of the viewer, that is all of you, to bring us up to speed on what's been going on. But the delivery of plot in this manner has always been jarring to me, because it just sounds and feels so forced, so artificial. And it's just a really awkward and cumbersome way of providing backstory when, I don't know, maybe there are other ways that this could be better done. This is one of the reasons why I loved the earlier Souls games so much, is because they never did anything like this. There was never any of this heavy-handed plot purely for the benefit of the player. The player didn't matter. The plot was kind of hidden where it was hidden as a result of the way events had played out in the games, and whether or not you found it was entirely your responsibility. Anyway.
And when someone like that said he'd support me, I had suspected there'd be an ulterior motive.
It's because I sympathized with your aspiring ideology.
Sure.
I believed that your ideals needed to be achieved for the sake of the country's future.
I somehow doubt it's as simple as that. Everybody is using everybody else here.
Well, my faith in you was precisely why I pulled the plug on that research. I only need you using that power. It'd be troublesome if someone else uncovered how it works.
Hence the assassination of Wakaba.
Wakaba Ishiki, was it?
Oh.
That researcher. She wouldn't have had to die if she just complied.
How about that? So Akechi was probably the trigger man on that assassination as well.
Any suspicions should be snubbed out. Even the smallest doubt must be severed at the root. After all, we had an active public prosecutor's office director on our side until recently.
Wait, what? So the SIU director betrayed them?
Astounding, isn't it? To think the director himself often forged evidence to secure his promotion. He was quite surprised when you confronted him about it. He didn't know who leaked that information. Well, I got that out of his shadow, so technically speaking, he did it himself.
Oh, okay.
This country's affairs have become stagnant.
So the director was looking to get promoted as well.
The political world is filled with old men who only act to preserve their own vested interests.
Oh, please, like you're any different.
The general public has forsaken such political affairs and don't even bother. Only ruin awaits us.
Unfortunately, on this point, he is somewhat correct. There is, in the real world, a lot of political apathy, which is precisely one of the factors that lead to people like him getting their way and coming to power.
I must agree.
There's no need to be ruined along with such incompetent fools. I will lead this country to its revival. Those who get in the way must be eliminated at times. That's the correct way to use the metaverse.
Still, it would stand out if there were continuous deaths and scandals with your political rivals. Which is why I made them suspects. Prosecute the targets that I turn psychotic, and solve them as cases unrelated to you.
Wow.
And thus, the charismatic ace detective was born.
So the cases he solved were all set up from the start? My God. This iceberg goes a hell of a long way down.
Thanks to your efforts, my clean image remains untarnished, and I've monopolized public opinion. Once I gained public sentiment, collaborators from all sectors began approaching me on their own. The police were no exception. With their management in my pocket, keeping them in check was easy.
When the Phantom Thieves emerged, I thought things might become somewhat troublesome.
And they were just brats once we looked into it. All we needed to do was lay the blame on them.
When you told me that, I knew then that you were the better man.
Something is not adding up here, though, because Keiichi's cooperation with Shido suggests to me that he still has ulterior motives. And I mean, everything he's done up to now, he's got to have some other angle beyond just identifying with Shido's goals and ideas. And for goodness sake, there's nothing to stop Keiichi from just offing Shido once he's no longer useful to him.
Their popularity was a bit beyond my expectations, but flipping it made the negative press stronger. After that, all I had to do was openly berate them. I've been gaining more supporters since. The current administration is dead with ongoing scandals. Never mind the fact that they're my doing. Even the government parties have begun splitting up, and they're dissolving just as planned. The time has finally come. Just a little more, and I will take the seat of Prime Minister. However, inauguration isn't my goal. That's when everything truly begins. I'll make this country rich for the sake of its selfish and ignorant masses who can only rely on others.
In other words, you're creating a powerful country that can compete with the world.
Keiichi might as well be talking directly to us at this point.
The public resonates with my ideals and follows me. And for that, some sacrifices can't be avoided. That is my duty as the Chosen One. Your assistance has been very influential in making my plans proceed smoothly.
Chosen One, my ass. That is some arrogance right there.
When I become Prime Minister, I'll grant whatever wish you want.
With this most recent case, my name has become known across the country, perhaps even the world. Surely my story will be passed down as a hero who won against monsters that could control people's hearts.
So I guess the end game here is that we're going to do the same thing to them that they did to us. They get famous, and then we expose them and shift public opinion back to the Phantom Thieves.
I believe I'll lay low and devote myself to my studies.
I suppose with your age, you wouldn't come up with debauched desires.
Oh, please. Keiichi has to have a palace.
I am thinking about the future, though.
Guess you won't be going to school for a while.
Yeah! I mean, oh no, what a tragedy.
Don't worry about it. This'll be a breeze compared to what we've had to face so far.
It does rather sound like the most dangerous of our escapades are over for at least a little while.
and we'll have all the time to come up with the plans together. To be perfectly honest, I don't really care what happens to Shido, one way or the other.
I'd kinda like to see him burn.
But when I consider the fact that he's your enemy, I naturally think he's my enemy as well. I'm going to stay with you until the very end.
Just fucking let me go out at night, Morgana. That's all I ask.
Well, how do I put this?
Looks like things have finally settled down. Life's gonna get real busy for you starting tomorrow, right? Get some rest. Oh, not you too, Soji. The chief's right, let's hit the hay. God damn it.
Well...
So now all three of them are tag-teaming me to force me to go to bed. With your relationship with Akechi unexpectedly grew stronger, didn't it? What? Even though Akechi was talking to the fake you at that time. Yeah, what do you mean? He met with the cognitive you in the palace. I don't know what he said to that version of you in there, but we should make use of this. And if nothing else, it shows our operation with a smashing success. What? Oh, you know, now that I think about it... She reclaimed her conviction, now helping to expose the true evil in broad daylight. Oh, I guess this is just some kind of Deus Ex Machina, then, that we're going to end up having to use probably during the final boss fight. So the traitor was him. He revealed his true self to you for the first time. And yet... his abilities are all still listed here, just like... nothing is wrong. This is another thing. When are we going to figure out what the deal is with Igor? And with the Velvet Room in general, because that whole thing remains unresolved as of now. Remember how I hijacked your phone during the school trip? That kinda came in handy. How so? Well, remember how I put that wiretap app in Akechi's phone? Basically, that let me see GPS info for two phones, yours and his. Now, what could I do with that info? I'd be able to tell the precise moment Sai Nijima, who had your phone, ran into Akechi. Oh, that's how she knew when to drag Akechi into the metaverse. That was pretty impressive. That's when I saw my chance, and beep, sent the signal to activate the metaverse navigator. But there was the chance they'd just pass each other without saying a single word. That was why we needed you to tell Sai to show the phone to Akechi. That plan still surprises me no matter how many times I hear it. Still, I couldn't just directly hack into the metaverse nav. It's a mysterious app after all. But you know how it has that bookmark function? All you have to do is push the button. Making the phone think he was pushing that button was totally doable. Oh, okay. Pretty good, huh? So that's how she did it. She spoofed a touch input on the phone to externally activate the meta-nav. That's a pretty good workaround.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the police report on your death isn't going to show up at your school, no need to worry. Seems Nijima worked out some kind of deal with the higher-ups or something. I mean, they haven't even said anything to me. As long as you stay quiet, you'll be fine. And I guess if they reported your death now, they'd basically be saying you were a phantom thief. They can't really go announcing what the phantom thieves are, so I'm sure they'll avoid that. Yeah, you know?
Wow.
Wow, indeed. You know, though, for once, I think Morgana might have a point. I did die today, after all. I'd better get some rest now. Oh, God. Well, I gotta give Atlas some credit. They've sure as hell taken me on a ride for the past couple of game days. But now, I think it's time to call it for today. So thank you all very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing all of you next time. Take care, everybody.